There's no better way to start a video than some socks and Crocs. Before we go back to my garage, let's catch up a bit. In my last upload over a year ago, I asked for suggestions on what motorcycle I should add to my garage and if I should keep the 1299 or sell it. There was an overwhelming response suggesting that no matter what I decide, the Ducati should stay, and I completely agree. The comments on that video filled up with bikes like the BMW S1000RR, the Ducati Hyper Motard, Aprilia Tuono, and even a Triumph Thruxton, among others. That's a pretty good mix, but the bike I landed on wasn't anything even I would have guessed. Say hello to my 1985 BMW K100RS, a flying brick. I found a super low-mile example of this bike, and the seller claimed it started and ran fine. I was a little skeptical of a 35-year-old bike with low miles being in such good shape, and I assumed there was going to be a laundry list of pieces that deteriorate over time that are going to need to be replaced. Sure enough, the night before I picked up the bike, I got a message from the seller saying that it wouldn't start. I kinda lowballed him with a non-running bike price and said that if he accepted, the problem would be mine and he wouldn't have to worry about it. So he accepted. I got the bike home using the motorcycle carrier on the back of an F250 Super Duty and sent a picture of the BMW logo to my brother-in-law to make him think I bought an R1250GS. Everybody will be happy to know that I'm not using the Santa Fe to load this thing. I think this bike's something like 540 pounds. I turned the key and noticed I couldn't hear the fuel pump, so I deferred to my mechanic. The service manual said that I need to find someone with smaller hands to get the fuel pump out and do the fuel pump work for me, so do you want the manual, or do you want me to show you what tools you're gonna need for this, or do you just want me to like go in the house and hang out and then you can come get me when you're done? Done. Okay. You want me to time lapse this or what? She said the rubber sleeve that holds the fuel pump inside the gas tank had liquefied and got sucked into the pump, and a new one should do the trick. At this point, I started to dismantle the bike and uncovered a super secret compartment that housed an original complete toolkit. I acquired some pieces from a 2015 R1 that I'll be using for the front end and took the bike apart whenever I could force some garage time. The only trouble I ran into was the infamous red Loctite screws on the rear disc, and I ended up just drilling them. Everything got a degrease and a wash. The guts of the pump were trashed, so I rebuilt it. Some things got soda blasted and covered with high heat enamel before going back together, and this is how it's currently sitting. So I don't know if anybody's really seen my garage, but it's kind of packed full of a bunch of stuff. You can see we got the 1299, and then this is what's become of the K100. Forgive the kids screaming outside. I've got to do this quick, otherwise I'm going to get interrupted. And then everybody's wondering, the 1299 is still here, and for all the Husqvarna fans, there's the real workhorse of the entire garage there. Mows grass in a hurry with the old my oldest, when she was 1 for Halloween, was an old lady, so made that out of PVC. But here's the frame. The next thing that I have to do with the K100 is I've got to cut the frame. I'm going to cut the frame about here and maybe weld this bar back on there and then get it cleaned up and send it to powder coat. I'm gonna have to figure out the brakes. I've got to figure out if the master cylinder can push enough juice to the R1 brakes and all of that. I've got more pieces over here. Getting ready to put tires on the Hyundai, but I've got like airbox stuff and the rear spring, and then all of my cleaning things, and then oh, and all my trees have been falling down, so I've had hours and hours and hours on the chainsaw. Actually one fell down the other day in a storm that blew our kiddie pool across the street onto the golf course. Since I'm right across the street, I've got buckets and buckets and buckets of golf balls. There was trees all over the place. There was one on a car, actually, to the west of us. But the fire department came out as I was pulling one of my trees out of the intersection, and they're like, oh, there's another one completely blocking the road, and it was just a bunch of dudes in an Explorer, a bunch of fire department guys in an Explorer. I was like, well, you guys won't be able to get that out. You want me to grab the chainsaw? And they're like, yeah, we might as well loaf it up. And so I was running that thing in orange Crocs, trying to pick away at the K100. We'll see. We'll get it. We'll get it going. So, but that's pretty much it. That's probably good enough for an update. I don't know if there's anything else other than I bought a R1250GS yesterday. Am I a good whistler?
Yeah.
Am I handsome?
Yeah.